we'll see. We'll check in this so we're good.
We'll know for the first time.
Rock Rage Live.
We're on yours.
We're evil on divine with a lasting light. Yeah, with a lasting light. Two eyes from the east. It's the angel or the beast. And the answer lies between our good and bad. We search for the truth. We could die upon the truth. But the thrill of just the chase
right.
is worth the pain.
Keith yet? No Keith.
We'll know for the first time.
Check. 1, 2.
If we're evil or divine with a lasting light. Yeah, with a lasting light.
Check 1, 2. Yeah.
Check all the 2s. And the 1s.
All the 1s and the 2s. All right, everybody. You guys about ready for the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus tonight?
Ow, ow.
Yeah. We need Keith the Hot Cock. And as soon as Keith gets in here, we're going to get the party started. The party. We're going to party on the party tonight. It's be all kind of partying. Party. Plug the guitar. We don't need that. So, okay. Check it. Can you guys hear? I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Check. 1, 2.
1, 2, 3.
Oui. I am French virtue signaling. You will have to call me a Frenchist.
There's something wrong with you.
I'm a Frenchist. That's when you're racially biased towards French people or against French people. I forget what it is.
No, they hate us.
Frenchist.
So.
I know. Freedom fries. You remember when that happened?
Yes, I remember. Actually, I went to Ocean City that year, and they changed all their French fry signs to freedom fry signs.
Oh, wow. How far we've gone. Now, like, that's when everybody was, like, loved the country.
Yeah.
We're all together. And now everybody's like, this country sucks. Fuck this country. They're going to blow it. Let's burn it all down. You know what I mean? Like,
Burn
wow.
it down to the ground.
So, I'm drinking a...
Wiggle.
No, shh.
Sorry. I got excited.
What I'm trying to do is get sponsors.
Oh, sorry.
So,
I got
like,
excited.
I feel like if we start advertising them for free, they're never going to give me any freaking money. But this is a very good bourbon, and it is a bourbon. It is their version of a bourbon, and it's actually very, very good.
Where'd you get that?
The liquor store.
They had that there?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It's hard to it's hard. I see it.
Okay.
It's hard to find. I mean, they don't always have it. It's
Yeah.
not like hard to find, but they just don't always have it. But I did at the one up by next to Guitar Center in Robinson. There's the Hawkhead. What's going on, big guy?
What's up? How's it going? What are you talking about?
I have no idea, man.
Bourbon.
We're talking about whiskey and bourbon. We're beasts of bourbon here.
No, I am not one of those.
I got a good bottle on Sunday.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah.
I did too. It's what'd you get? You gonna say, or you gonna keep it secret?
I got a. Oh yeah, no, I'll share. I'm not the whiskey, but I'll share what I got. I got a Whistle Pig. You ever hear Whistle Pig?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whistle Pig farm stock rye.
Sounds
Very
fancy.
good. They have a very interesting taste to their whiskeys, and it's unique, and it's something I would recommend. If you're a whiskey drinker and you have never tried Whistle Pig, I would give it a shot. Or 3 or 4.
Or 3 or 4 shots. Oh, good one. Nice. See, I see what you did there. I see what you did. Okay.
You know, I just try to be, someone who offers more than just one word answers. It's just...
Yeah, I was saying we're gonna get started here in a second, but I'm drinking a brand that's made in Pittsburgh. That's very, very good. And if there's any left when you come, I will give you some.
What is it? Where can I purchase it? So when I'm in there,
I'll tell you in the interview. I'm trying to not say too many brands and stuff on the show because, like, I would like to maybe ask if we could get, maybe try to get sponsors. So, I mean, even if I could just get them to give us booze, it would be something, So I'm like trying to be a little more strategic and not just say, "Hey, look what I'm drinking," and give these people free advertising. The only one who gets advertising on this show is Chris Thunderwolf frickin' Dodson because he is the man.
He's watching.
So he's it. So all right, we're gonna go ahead and get started talking about some shit tonight, and everybody join in on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, and we will acknowledge your comments and suggestions and ideas. We love it. So, okay. Then we can do that in my way. That's in my way. It gotta go away. There we are. Yeah. All right, here we go. This week on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, we're going to discuss 10 movie soundtracks that were, for the most part, performed by all one band or artist. Stick around. You're listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, changing rock history one podcast at a time. All right, boys and girls, moms and dads, children of all ages, welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini. And before we get started into anything tonight, if you love great guitar-driven rock, you love these kind of conversations, you love talking about the stuff, you love hanging out with cool people who are into it, maybe you're interested in some of my own music and some exclusive stuff, go to LouLombardiRocks.com, all kind of cool stuff just for you there. So check it out at LouLombardiRocks.com. Tonight on the podcast, we have our the power trio is in full force. We've got Keith the Hawk Hawkins chiming in from all the way down there in New Orleans. What's going on down there in New Orleans?
That's right. It's hot and sticky.
Hot and sticky.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Rock candy, baby. Hot, sweet, and sticky.
It's good. It's very brutal, man. During the day.
I know. We're getting a little. We're getting
some
We're
heat.
getting minor brutality here. It's not what you guys got. But,
well, no, it just gets at the point where it's freaking stifling hot at 10 in the morning. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's something I'll never get used to. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. And we also have Lily V6 here with us today. What's up, Lily?
Up? Hola.
Lily is looking for employment. So if you she's. Would you work? Would you do a work from home thing?
If I had to.
She'd do anything within reason.
Within reason.
Now.
Let's not get excited.
Calm down, everybody. Put it back in your pants.
I don't do bathrooms.
Billy Altman, calm down.
Oh, no.
So, anyways, guys, back with Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, we have I don't know. I think that all of three of us are pretty big movie fans as well as music fans. So whenever we can kind of like bring the two things together, we try to do that. We were kicking. Did you see my? I don't know. Did you reply? Did you see Keith talking about possibly doing a show on best fictional bands in horror movies?
Yeah, I saw that one. I commented.
That might be fun to do.
Yeah, I've seen briefly. Give me an example.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to talk about it. I don't know. But I'm just saying maybe for the future. So we like movies as well as music here a lot. So occasionally we try to mix the two together if we can.
Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters.
There we are. And boom goes the dynamite.
That's what I figured. Yeah, I was doing the Oneaters. Is that it?
The Oneaters, yes.
You got it with that.
Oneaters. Is The Wonders a horror movie? I'm not sure.
No.
Nah, I mean, it's a pretty good movie, but it's definitely not a horror movie.
No.
So.
Okay.
I mean, to some it might be.
Anyways.
What the hell is it? What's the name of the band in Dusk Till Dawn? What was the name of that band at the end?
Crap.
Oh,
That would be
give me a
an
minute.
example.
I know that movie very well. It's not coming to me, but I'll get it. I'll get it here in a minute. Before we get too far into things, a couple of things I got to give a shout out to some of our partners. I want to shout out to Rock Rage Radio. Go to rockrageradio.com. Download that app, guys, and you can listen to great guitar-driven rock 24/7. You don't have to just wait for once a week for the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Also, our and I mentioned before we started the podcast, but I need to mention it now, is our sponsor. Wolf's Customs, Chris Thunderwolf Dotson and Company at wolfscustoms.online. You know, there's no reason to get up on stage with the same boring looking instrument. Get a hold of Chris. He could do all kind of great customization for you. He sent me some cool pics that he did and everything. So he's a great guy, very easy to work with, very accommodating, does awesome work. So go to wolfscustoms.online and tell him that Loudini sent you. We are talking about bands that did the whole soundtrack pretty much themselves. Okay, we're not gonna if there's one or two little things in there maybe, but for the most part the band did the whole soundtrack themselves. Or rock artist. We can open it up to rock artist as well. But what we don't want to say is like, well, John Williams, because he did all the music in Star Wars. No, he's not like a rock artist. That's not this guy. He's a composer. We're talking about rock bands or rock artists, pop artists that did pretty much a whole movie soundtrack themselves. And we're going to get right into that in a minute. But we always like to start the show off with some music. This is Dead Man's Whiskey, Last Train. We're going to be right back to talk about rock artists doing movie soundtracks. So stick around. Lily got new ink. absolutely do not, under any circumstances, want to miss that last train home, Lily. Keith.
I'll walk.
Dead Man's Whiskey, guys. Check him out. Really good bluesy
I liked
rock
it.
thing, cool stuff there. Yeah, Dead Man. Oh, these guys are British. Deadmanswhiskey.co.uk. So check them out on the internet. All right, so let's get into our topic today, which are movies where the soundtrack is done pretty much all by one artist. So, who's going to start first?
You tell me, yo. Why do you gotta make that butthole face?
Good, y'all.
Lily.
Get it running. Get it
running,
started.
Lily.
All right, I'm gonna do a horror movie, which I think everybody's seen. Trick or Treat. Well, everybody in this room has seen probably. Trick or Treat. All done by Fastway. It was their 4th album, and the soundtrack to the horror film Trick or Treat. Also, the final album to feature Dave King on vocals. The movie is super fun, cheesy horror, like I like. Skippy from Family Ties was in it, so that's great. And it makes special appearances by Ozzy and Gene Simmons. I think the whole album is great from title to the credits at the end, and I literally just bought the CD to have for my collection of things.
I have not seen that in many years, many years, and I really
you can actually find it on YouTube for free.
Yeah,
I wanted to rewatch it just because I know that it's like a cheesy, fun kind of silly.
Oh, it's definitely pretty bad, but the soundtrack. I mean, it's on. They have a cool sound to them. They're like almost an AC/DC vibe. You know, it's pretty straight ahead rock and roll.
Say what you will, that was their big radio hit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Fast Eddie Clark, Pete Way.
Like most of mine, for whatever reason, that soundtrack is a lot better than the movie. I mean, even though there are cameos by Ozzy, Gene Simmons plays the DJ in it, and it does have Skippy. So I mean, even Skippy couldn't save that movie to be good, but it does have some rockin' tunes in it. So there you go.
The music saves it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how it works on that end.
It's always fun to watch once a year. So.
Yeah, I need to revisit. I'm always up for some cheesy 80s horror. Yeah.
1986.
Yeah. So I recommended one to Lily a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember the top of my head. I got to look it back up. It was Mausoleum.
Yeah, I wrote it down. It's on my list of things.
And the former Playboy Playmate is in it. And Keith, do you remember
Mausoleum?
What's his name? He was a child preacher, and then he came out and debunked religion, and he became Marjo Gortner. Do you remember him? All right. Well, when you come up, we'll have a talk. We'll have a drunk talk about that. So, what do you got on your list, Keith?
Well, we'll stay with the '80s cheese movies that were. This movie couldn't have been good if it, had De Niro as the main character, but we're gonna stay with Flash. This is Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon with the soundtrack done exclusively by Queen, and they'll maybe pop up again somewhere else. But it's a bad movie. It's really bad. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It's you can watch that movie 100 times. Actually, Max von Sydow, who just died not too long ago, is actually a really good actor, but he couldn't save that movie either. That's Ming the Merciless himself. But Sam Jones is freaking awful in it. I mean, it's just a shitty movie.
What do you expect from a Playgirl Playmate?
Yeah, but at the same time, the movie, once again, the music rocks and it saves the movie. I think. I mean, when you can see a string on the spaceship, you got problems, man. I mean, I don't know about the effects on that. I mean, I don't know. They let 6-year-olds do the effects. I've had science projects in school where the volcano erupts. Look cooler than that shit, man.
When you hung the planets, you couldn't see the strings, right? In your shadow box, yeah.
Yeah, but
if you remember the original well, you don't, because none of us are that old,
right?
But if you looked at the original Flash Gordon thing ever, it's like that, and I kind of felt it like there was a sort of, it was a kind of nod to that. So none of that really bothered me. I just took it as a fun, cheesy movie. It absolutely makes no sense. It's stupid with a capital S. But when Queen does that with that dum 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 dum,
right?
You're like, yes.
That's just rocking. I mean, that whole the movie. I mean, like I said, the music through the entire movie. I mean, it's awesome. No matter what they do, they just capture the mood of the movie. I mean, it's just. unfortunately, the movie just didn't live up to. I don't know what it did at the box office. I thought very well, but it's one of the movies you watch. It's probably one of the movies you watch like Trick or Treat. Maybe you watch them as a double feature.
There you go.
go and
have it
then
a
you go
cheesy
and-
movie night.
Then you go and puke everywhere. I don't know, but it's just it's a bad movie. Great soundtrack though.
Yeah, I don't know where the movie ranked either, but the soundtrack went 23, so that's all that matters.
Well, Mausoleum is a terrible movie and has a bad soundtrack, but it's got a Playboy playmate in it who's
So winning.
hot is, all get out, and she gets naked. So, like,
Isn't that most
I was
80s
like, it's just fantastic. So, all right, I'm gonna, there's so many, but here's one I'm gonna pick because this is another movie. It's a shame that these rockers don't seem to do better movies because this is another movie that's like really. In fact, the director of this movie would love to remove his name from it. This director went on to do like some really important films, like movies that are like legendary, like The Elephant Man and Blue Velvet. But before he did all that stuff, he made the big bucks with Dune. Dino De Laurentiis and company, brought him in and said, David Lynch, you're going to make Dune. We're going to pay you a whole bunch of money, then you can go do whatever you want. Kind of like the way Stanley Kubrick did with Spartacus. He hated it the whole way through, but he loved the cast, and he loved working with the band Toto. And Toto does the music to Dune, in case you didn't know that. They don't do any singing. There's some like, stuff like
Some
that.
little
in there.
harmony type stuff.
Yeah, but it's cool to when they're racing over the things. Again, it's cheesy effects with sandworms, but you hear Steve Lukather's crunchy guitar and stuff like that. It kind of makes it a little more epic. But it's a cool thing. It's something that I did not think that Toto would do. And when I heard they were doing the music, I was like, are they going to do like a pop funk? Like a Steely Dan. I don't know what they were going to do. Are they going to be like Rosanna? But they stepped up and did like this kind of like, I think that the problem with that soundtrack though is I would love to have them had a great song like the Flash song or Who Wants to Live Forever from Highlander or something like that, like those guys did. They didn't do that. They're purely like a background, supporting the weird movie that it became. So anyways, so Toto doing Dune. It's something I think a lot of people don't know or remember. So there you are. Toto.
Gotta love Toto.
Toto, man.
Thank you very much. Rosanna is going to be stuck in my head for at least a decade now.
For a decade.
So
There's worse
Toto's
songs than
one
stuck
of-
in your head.
Toto's one of them bands that did not yet in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They probably should be there too. Toto
they
would be-
should probably be there. They should for sure be there.
I'll have to put the Toto petition on pretty soon for them now.
Toto petition. Except they did that song Africa, which is now considered very racist. So what do you got? What's next, Lily?
So I have another bad movie. This one's from the 90s.
How does this happen? We all pick bad movies.
Well,
I think I have a couple that are. I'm going to pick a good movie, even though it may not be real well known next.
Okay. That's fine. Well, this one is called She's the One, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers did the entire album.
Yeah. Vaguely remember.
It was their ninth studio album. Romantic comedy. I didn't like it ever, and I used to love romantic comedies when I was naive and stupid. It did get to number 15 on the charts. Some were actually recorded for Wildflowers, like Walls / Circus. And Climb That Hill and Change the Locks. And then I think it's kind of one of the underrated ones in the group because I think a lot of people forget it. That they did
So would you say that the music is like the best thing about that
Absolutely.
movie? There's one on my list, and I believe it's on Keith. I'm going to let Keith talk about it. I'm not going to say it because there's one on, I think, both on Keith and I's list. It's the same kind of thing where the music is absolutely killer and the movie is like a nightmare. It's just terrible. But isn't it funny?
That was the thing I said when I don't know what we were discussing. Maybe it was a late night.
Yeah, I
Maybe
was only partially reading that because I was bartending.
I mentioned, I was like, I thought for me, guess what? I don't even have a friggin' 10. I'm going to have to make up a couple. It was like, the subject was bad movies with great soundtracks. That's what I was thinking and what I was doing. That's why I got so many bad movies because I was just going with,
okay.
These movies suck, but the soundtrack saves it, but you can't save the movie, but the soundtrack.
I was drinking during that conversation as well too, and I took it to
that's
mean.
well, I'm gonna have to start, giving you a reminder because I know when you're all pissed up, we have to talk again. When you're sober.
And I thought we were talking about bands that like the band primarily did most of the music. So anyways, it's a podcast. So let's have
Who
fun
cares?
with it and we'll see where it goes. What do you got next, Keith?
Well, since we're talking about bad movies, since that's what I'm going to keep the ongoing theme here, this one is a bad movie, and it's kind of real bad actually. It's Maximum Overdrive. It's based on a Stephen King, I think a short story maybe called Trucks, and it has Emilio Estevez and I don't even know who else.
Doesn't
but I
matter.
know that AC/DC does the entire soundtrack by themselves. And there's actually some cool songs on the soundtrack, but the one standout track for me is, they don't do this very often, is a instrumental called DTs, which was actually a very cool, very grooving track. I don't hear an AC/DC do. I don't know how many AC/DC instrumentals there are in the world, but that's a good one. If they did more than one, I stand corrected, but that's a very cool track. That's one of them ones when I was a kid, I would always try to play along to. It was a really fun song.
Dude, when the Green Goblin or whatever shows up on the front of the truck and all that, I lose my mind. That's like, what the hell is? But that is another movie. Like, if you get, you have to get a few drinks in you, you know what
It's
you're going to
cheese.
expect. You watch and you can rock
Yeah,
out to
I
all the
mean-
songs. And Stephen King is actually in it.
Yeah. And Ride
I
On,
lo-
Ride
I
On
love
is Bon
those
Oh, you
Scott.
stole my thunder.
Sorry.
That's what I was going
Sorry.
to talk about. Because Ride On is a slow blues that they do on that, and that is
yeah.
one of my favorite Angus Young solos of all time. That is he's like, listen to the solo on it. That is some serious blues playing. It just knocks me out every time I hear it. But yeah, AC/DC is the best thing of it. Stephen King said that that was the only movie they ever allowed him to direct. And he just it was like the Rick James quote, Keith. Cocaine's hell of a drug.
I don't think that let's get off topic, but Stephen King adaptations of his movies to the big screen, sometimes they're not
Hit or
done
miss.
well.
They don't translate sometimes.
Hit or miss. That's some of
They,
them work. Some don't.
they fall into the wrong hands. I mean, then sometimes they're great. I mean, lately there's been some good ones, but it's tough to kind of explain
You
what
can't.
he's maybe
If you've
what
never
he's saying.
if you've never seen Maximum Overdrive, like, you just have to go in like knowing you're going to watch a really cheesy, in fact, it's not even cheesy. It's corny. It's like,
Yeah,
really.
It's a
like I
different
said,
food.
It's definitely not. It's not good. It's not good. And I don't even know. Now that you mentioned Stephen King in it, I know Emilio Estevez was in it. Stephen King and anybody else.
He has a bit part. He always likes to show up for 10
that's his
seconds.
thing. That's his thing.
The other cool thing about that is they also released a 73-minute videotape of music videos to go along with the soundtrack. So I thought that was pretty cool. If I could find that, that would be awesome.
I had the soundtrack on cassette.
Nice.
I wasn't a fan of the movie, but man, and I thought it was so good. And there's some Bon Scott. Well, Ride On
is
a
Bon
Bon Scott song. There's some Bon Scott work on there too. So I think it's a really cool like AC/DC record.
Yeah. Well, it's basically Who Made Who. So.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah, it's pretty much the that's the soundtrack and the album. That's pretty much it. They were hand in hand. So.
I'm gonna pick a movie because I said I would pick one that's a good movie done by an artist. This guy came to prominence in the '60s with a band called Fairport Convention, and then went on to be a really well-respected sort of acoustic artist. His name's Richard Thompson, and he did the soundtrack to this documentary. If you've never seen it, you should watch it. It's called Grizzly Man. And it's the music is the music. I don't want to say the music makes it, but the music is so well done that it takes this this documentary story and makes it just like way more epic because the music is so incredible. And if you guys, either one of you guys ever seen Grizzly Man?
I have not.
Have you ever seen it, Keith?
Nah, I'm going to say no.
You should say it. It's about that guy, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he went and lived with grizzly bears. Like, he would go every year in Alaska and live with grizzly bears, and then finally he pushed his luck, and the grizzly bears chomped him down, and they ate him.
Well, they're tired of him taking up the space when he's not paying rent.
And it's very powerful documentary. It's really. It's really, this guy is so bizarre. He's wacky. You could tell he's wacky. He's like a social misfit, and it's
I
like
mean,
you
no,
can't look away.
normal people don't go hanging out with grizzly bears, but I just don't get where he's.
Well,
coming from
I mean,
there.
and it's really sad too because his girlfriend, who was with him, she became grizzly food too.
Oh.
And there's a recording of them dying.
Oh gosh.
It's you guys got to see it. Just they don't show that, but you got, if you've never seen it, it's like Werner Herzog. He's no slouch, man. He knows how to make a movie. Check out Grizzly Man if you've never seen it.
Word.
Music is
Okay, I
amazing.
will. I mean, that's sounds a little. I mean, even his girlfriend was involved in it too. I mean,
Dude, check it out.
They
man.
were meant for each other. Dan, they're both freaking nuts.
Baby, I want to be grizzly food with you.
That's weird.
That is dedication right there, my friends. That is dedication. Let's go kill ourselves with friggin' wild animals.
Yeah, I'm probably never going to do that. I'm never going camping again.
So, Lily, hey, you
All right.
want to stop? Keith, you guys got loaded up because we're gonna play a song and we're gonna come back. And
Okay.
I want
Yeah, I got a couple more.
to come out hot,
My next one is
rocking hard
a good movie, but you guys might not like it.
up in this biatch.
I got a very obscure movie, but the soundtrack is awesome. So
Oh, awesome. I love it. Let's do it. This is Potion by Shadows of the Cloud. We'll be right back on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circuit.
Acquainted by the presence in the air. As I walk through shadows, hesitation laced with fear.
Shadows of the Cloud Potion on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, and you want to check those guys out. I always want you guys to check the bands out. That's really important, man. If you're you're tuning in, check the bands out, man. And if you like what you hear, pick up a T-shirt or something. Check them out. Follow them on social media. This is Facebook.com/Shadows of the Cloud. Really cool melodic alternative rock kind of sound there. Really digging it. Check them out. We open the show with Dead Man's Whiskey, just like balls out. Like Dead Man's Whiskey is like somebody like balls on your chin, like right there. It's like in your face, rock and roll. So we are talking about soundtracks.
What the hell does that even mean?
I have no idea.
I don't get the same feeling when that happens. I'm just saying.
I've got balls on my chin. That's that 13th Robert Johnson song, Keith, that like Ralph Macchio was supposed to learn, but he didn't because that dude didn't teach him. That's terrible.
And there it is.
Got balls on my chin.
I bet you Big Jack Butler could have played it though.
Big Jack Butler slinging balls every Friday night. So speaking of slinging,
I got a question real quick. You do something different because now when you play songs, I can hear the music clear as day. So I don't know.
I know. See, it's the miracle of technology.
Because probably for the last year or however long I've been doing this off and on, I can't hear the music. So if you ever ask me like, "Hey, what did you think of that track?" I'll be like, "I don't know. It's probably awesome."
Well, here's what there's a setting in Zoom that fixes all of that, and Zoom has been updated many times since the COVID thing because more people are using. So they've added all kind of cool stuff that you can do. So there's now a way to like send out good sounding audio over Zoom. So go Zoom.
That's it.
This isn't an advertisement for Zoom, but it is an advertisement for wolfscustoms.online. So check those guys out. Get yourself a custom job on your instrument. Shout out to Rock Rage Radio. Love you guys. RockRageRadio.com. So, who's next? Lily was going to go. What do you got? We were coming out of the gate hot.
All right,
What do you got?
my next one is an animated movie. Just so you know.
What?
Yes.
Okay, I'm turning your microphone off.
No, it's Tarzan because it's Phil Collins. I don't care what you say.
Phil Collins from Def Leppard.
No, Phil Collins, as in Phil Collins.
Phil Collins and Phil Collins should do a.
He composed the entire album. He won a Grammy for the original song "You'll Be in My Heart." It peaked number 5, and it was a comeback for him. And he sold over 3 million copies. So, of the soundtrack, and it's Phil Collins, so that's why I added it.
No, it's all right now. Phil's all right. I'm glad he's doing something, man.
I know it's Disney. I get it.
I thought he was a cool dude. That like. I can feel it coming. That's some epic stuff, dude. So go Phil, right?
Yes.
Never, ever play a cymbal in that song, or when you play the groove. There's no hi-hat in that song, sir. When you're over there, no hi-hat. All right, go ahead.
So we can't mimic it.
I just remember hearing that for the first time on DVE when they played that song. I was completely flabbergasted by that.
It is probably the most air drum song of all time.
And it's usually done wrong, right?
But the thing of it is like it sounded like nothing else, and the drums were so forward. It was like something. And it's hard now because we have 30 years of it. But when you got to go back, that nothing sounded like that. And when that song broke, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. and it deserves to become the classic that it did. What's next on your list, Keith?
All right, this movie may be not known to everybody, but I'm pretty sure it did win an Oscar for Best Picture that year. But the soundtrack is amazing. It is Birdman, The Virtue of whatever the hell it is, with Michael Keaton. The actual soundtrack is just drums, so I got a little soft spot for that. There's no real like instrumentation in the movie. If you watch it, I don't know if you've seen it at all, or if you next time you watch it, or watch it for the first time. There is nothing but drums through the entire song. That's all. Every time there's a scene, it's just somebody playing the drums, which is Antonio Sanchez, who's a great drummer. But there's a cool documentary of the making of the soundtrack. That's all the director wanted was someone to play the drums through the scene. So instead of music in a lot of the songs or a lot of the parts, there's just somebody playing a drum set.
A drum set, really?
Yeah, that's just all. The entire movie is just Antonio Sanchez, a great drummer, playing drums through the entire thing. But he does such a good job that it catches the mood of the movie, which the movie jumps around a little bit here and there with the storyline, but it's definitely an interesting soundtrack, and it's a good movie. I don't know if it's great, but I mean, I've seen it a few times, but what always sucked me into the movie was the fact where it's just interesting to have one man sitting there playing the friggin' drums and making it work. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's no real other music in the movie.
That's at Keith's house.
That's the doorbell.
Yeah. I remember
It
that
came
from when we
through
were there.
Clear as frickin' day, man. It was crystal
We're like-
frickin' clear. It sounded like
Yeah.
I played a sound effect on the podcast. It
They
was
heard
like,
that because they said it's crystal clear. Because then I said, "Well, that's my doorbell. If someone ever enters the house, my last dying sound in my head is the friggin' sci-fi sound of the doorbell or the alarm. It's the alarm."
okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's just get this out of the way. The Beatles there's like 20 things with the Beatles.
Right,
You
legit.
know, Hard Day's Night, 8 Days a Week. Yesterday is I mean, that's all the Beatles music. That movie hinges on the Beatles music.
Sgt. Pepper.
As, really,
It's
you're
an
gonna
awful
go,
movie.
You're going to go with that.
But I like some of the
I
songs.
actually had that on my list, Sgt. Pepper. It's a shitty movie.
I hate
But
it.
the
Well, I
music's
I
great.
only watched the movie because Aerosmith's in it.
And Across the Universe. So like
Yeah, there's
the
tons
Beatles,
of that.
like,
I mean,
well, I mean,
I
if
like
you can't,
Yesterday, but-
I mean, it's kind of cheating to make a movie with the Beatles music because, it's the Beatles.
It's not
it's like
cheating.
your music, like even if your movie sucks, like Yellow Submarine, which is a very bizarre, weird, kind of
That
like
is
I don't know if
kinda
it's a good
strange.
movie or not, but it's filled with Beatles music, and so it's like kind of hard to like poo-poo it because it's the freaking Beatles. So I
Frickin'
just
Beatles.
on my list I have the Beatles, and I have about 5 different things listed there. What can you say? The freaking Beatles.
Beatles
Hey,
win
I've
regardless.
Not Beatles.
One thing to interject with, since I've moved here, I've met 2 different people who have dissed the Beatles in the last month.
I know some people who don't like the Beatles. I don't understand it, but
Well, every once in a while, we'll run one of those posts on Facebook, like, name a band who, like, everybody loves, but you think you don't really get or don't like.
Beatles.
And some people will say the Beatles.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah,
don't
well,
get
one
it.
is a young kid who's like into like heavier music, and he was like, "I don't get that band. It's the most overrated band ever." I'm like, "Are you really going to say that with a straight face? I mean, you're 20, not even 20 years old. What the hell do you know anyway?"
they've probably
But it's-
influenced your bands that you listen to. Just saying.
Yeah. So, and the other one was just he's more of a like one of them butthurt kind of Stones fans. That if you don't like the Stones, the Stones are number one on everybody's list. I was like, the Stones never even cracked my freaking top 10. But
They don't even crack your butt crack. I know.
OMG.
We had to
And
talk
there
about
it is.
last week. Stu, Keith practically got up and left the podcast when somebody mentioned the Rolling Stones. So we don't want that
I
to
didn't mention
happen
the Rolling
again.
Stones. I mentioned Mick.
yeah, that was it. Yeah, the Stones. I mean, one of the bands. I mean, I respect the band that can stay together that long, but I mean, their music just does nothing for me, man. And I apologize to Stones fans out there, but it's just, I mean, come on. I mean, look at that shit. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So, Lily, what's on your list? We're going to have time for a few more. So, what's on your list?
Next on my list is Eddie and the Cruisers.
Oh, sugar! I forgot about
1984,
that one.
John Cafferty. They asked the director to describe a fictitious band. He basically described what John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band was doing. They asked Cafferty to write a few songs, and then after they saw how amazing his songs were, they said, hey, write the whole thing. He did. And the main song on the film, On the Dark Side, was #1 in the country.
On the dark side.
Yeah. I love that movie, and I need to watch it again. I do have.
I have
both.
them both. I have them both.
And I
yeah.
have the one soundtrack.
I went down to the Exchange one day.
Got excited
and
like I do.
I was like, nah, now I got to get them both.
I have it on vinyl too. The
Yo.
first one.
So, do you like Eddie and the Cruisers, or do you think it's stupid?
I think that's one that I'm kind of pissed that I never thought about that one. Where did you get that one at? That's off the
I
list or
recently
just
watched
like,
it. That's why.
I never would even that one there. I was like, because it's an okay movie. I don't think it's great, but I mean, it's like, but it's one of them things where that's one that I'm kind of like, man, I didn't think about that one. That's a good one.
I even like the story. I think it's a good story. I don't know how I
it's
feel
not
about all
bad.
the
It's not,
flashbacks.
it's not definitely not an awful movie. I mean, it's it's a movie I could watch it once and just be like, all right.
Yeah, I'm. That's my last. That's not my last one. I got one more.
I gave you one too.
I'm not doing that one. That's you, buddy.
What do you got, Keith? You got anything else?
I mean, damn, what do I got to do here? All right, so I think the last one, or one of the ones I have on top of my list, I don't really have them in any kind of order as usual, but I mean, I think the one that just kind of should be maybe king of the heap is by Purple One himself, Purple Rain. Purple Rain is done by a genius musician, probably arguably the best musician that ever lived. But the movie itself lacks a little bit of the acting chops. I mean, it's
I don't like the movie.
fun to watch because the music is so awesome that it's fun to watch, and it's that all the live scenes are cool and everything, but the actual storyline and the acting itself, there's nobody going to save that place.
To be completely fair, not all the music in Purple Rain is by Prince. The Time is in there, Apollonia is in there. So I'm just saying.
I mean, the movie, yeah, but if you look at the soundtrack is all Prince.
Yeah, it is all Prince.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, definitely that, but it's like you don't go on the soundtrack and look for Jungle Love. It's not on that. I mean, it's in the movie, but it's never included with that. I mean,
Jesse. Now Jerome.
The Purple Rain soundtrack is basically just all Prince. I mean,
I know I don't give a crap. I think that movie is I freaking love that movie. That movie was such a huge part of my adolescence and everything, man. I thought I thought that movie told you everything about how to get girls and everything was completely wrong. But that movie was everything. And Prince was the coolest, and he wore this freaking purple jacket with his
the ruffles
thing, and he rode this motorcycle, and he got this hot chick to take off all her clothes and jump purify herself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. I mean, everything about it was just wow, I'm so not worthy.
This was one of the first cassettes my mother gave me just to listen to out of her collection, and I love it because it also has one of the most controversial songs on it, according to the Tipper Gore and the whole crew, but also reached number one. One of his first albums reached number one. So
when I heard that guitar at the beginning of When Doves Cry,
stop.
I'm like, I'm done. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Done.
I think Let's Go Crazy is my favorite on there.
I think to this day, Purple Rain is probably still the best power ballad of all time. It's just a rock anthem, man. I mean,
and there's no bass on When Doves Cry.
There's not.
There's no bass. It's really interesting because they kept on playing with it, and they were like, I think we're gonna leave the bass off. And we were like, what? You can't release a single with no bass on it. And Prince is like, I think we're gonna release a single with no bass on it.
The guitar solo at the end of Let's Go Crazy.
Yeah, very kind of Hendrix kind of thing. That's great. Yeah.
It's always fun to ask bass players who plays bass on When Doves Cry to see their face go, I don't know, Doves, I don't know. They think because they just don't realize that there's no, unless you read somewhere that there's no bass. There is no bass line on it. What the hell's going on?
Before the Black Keys and the White Stripes, there was Prince. Here's one. This is kind of obscure, but first of all, I'm a huge fan of this movie. And second of all, the Goblin does the soundtrack to Suspiria, which is this very bizarre, twisted movie by Dario Argento, and some of it's dubbed. It's very weird. It's very crazy, and you either like it or you don't. But yeah, Goblin does the soundtrack, and Goblin actually has toured with the movie playing on a giant screen as they perform the soundtrack live. And I've heard that is not to be missed. I heard that's very, very cool. So Goblin doing the Suspiria soundtrack.
Nice. I didn't know that, actually.
Boom! Drop the mic.
You gonna say that one you typed there? You gonna say that one? Because I'm not saying that one.
Which one? No, I'm not gonna say that one. You got anything else on your list?
No, Purple Rain was mine.
Keith, you got anything else?
Yeah, I'm going to stay with the same artist. He's done quite a few soundtracks. A lot of them are to his movies, but he also did a Tim Burton movie called Batman, where he did the entire soundtrack.
Never heard of it. Not a fan.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
And there's some kick-ass tunes on it. I mean, Bat Dance alone is awesome. Yes. And Party Man, all that shit is great, man. That's a funky album, too. I mean, that's Prince, so what are you going to do? But it's he's done Under the Cherry Moon and Graffiti Bridge and a lot of stuff. It's just not good movies, but it's Prince, so you're shit, man, I'll just listen to the soundtrack.
It's who cares how bad the movie is? We want to watch it. We want to hear the music.
well, if we're going to talk Batman, and I'm just going to throw as a kind of like honorable mention aside, Danny Elfman, who is the leader of Oingo Boingo, has gone on to, like, he wrote the Simpsons theme, like, you know, like,
There it is.
and he did the original Batman, the original Tim Burton Batman. So, yeah.
I think Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo has some television credits to his television shows. To
Maybe.
his credit too. I just don't know what his name comes up on some stuff. It might even been some episodes of The Simpsons, or I don't know.
Definitely The
exactly.
Simpsons.
I'm
Definitely
gonna
Simpsons.
throw out the other soundtrack that Queen did, and this movie's I think a better movie.
I haven't seen it, so that's why I didn't put it on my list.
This is now. I cannot say that this is a great movie only because this is like a movie from my childhood that I kind of grew up with and liked as a kid. So it's a nostalgia value. So if you're an older person and you've never seen it, you may watch it and go like, "This is terrible," but it's Highlander, and most notably, well, first of all.
Here it is.
I mean, I can't even know. I don't even know where to start. But the soundtrack was called "It's a Kind of Magic," and Prince of the Universe is on it. Who Wants to Live Forever, which is in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie when he finds out he has AIDS, and it's so powerful. But that is a very. I mean, Queen. They never did.
Queen wins.
Even when they do like kind of like Radio Gaga and those kind of poppy things, you still go, but it's Queen.
You can't say anything really bad.
But it's Queen, and what can you say?
I love Queen. You know what's funny about Queen is they used to be like when someone said, "Who's your guilty pleasure in college music?" It'd be Queen, and I'm like, now I say that. Now I'm like, why would I ever have said that? Why was I embarrassed to say that? Because I love them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really powerful.
That's a top 5 rock band of all time, maybe even 3.
Yeah, but a couple of ones we just recorded dancing around. Keith, close your ears. Joan Jett, Light of Day.
Shit.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, I know. The Bee Gees, Saturday Night Fever.
That was on Rolling Stone's list, actually. Like I said, I don't think the movie's great. It's not awesome. It's one of the movies that's like, if it's on, the VH1 plays a lot. I mean, the soundtrack is.
The soundtrack is. Let me tell
one
you,
of the best selling soundtracks of all time.
that is what made that movie.
I have it
because
on
if you
vinyl.
take that out of there, it's a kind of like John Travolta in tight pants. It's not really like there's not much going on. I've just recently watched and this is a little off topic. I just recently watched Urban Cowboy for the first time.
Oh my God, I love that movie, and I don't care
That's
how
a better-
awful it
that
is. I love it.
That is a way better movie. That's got a better story, and it's grittier and stuff like that. But one of the things about that movie is the music is like it brought out all this country music that people
Charlie
weren't all that
Daniels is in there.
that people weren't all that familiar with yet. And brought it to the forefront. So it was a kind of like a revolution in music and the music. That's.
I mean, maybe the ladies like John Travolta in tight pants and Saturday Night Fever, and then they watch him with the cowboy hat and the tight pants and Urban Cowboy. I'll take the John Travolta that's overweight and does heroin and Pulp Fiction as Vince Vega any day.
Vince Vega.
Right.
That's a way better role for him.
Do we want to? We're out of time. We're out of time. Maybe we'll do another show on biopics because I jotted a few down. A couple that you may not know or remember, guys, is Simon and Garfunkel's work on The Graduate, which is there are some other artists on there, but it's primarily
predominantly
them. And I remember going to see that movie and being like, "Oh my God, I love this song! I love this song! I love this song! I love this song!" So. If you've ever seen it, it's a great comedy as well. You should definitely check it out. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else quickly. The Dust Brothers, Fight Club.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
That's cool. Tron, remember Daft Punk,
Tron.
the 2 robots? They did Tron Legacy.
I was going to say that next, yeah. So there's a handful out there. There's a whole bunch out there. Check out the internet. Keith, we're getting out of here. What do you got going on? Anything going on this week? Any shows? Any tours? What's going on?
No, I wish I was on some kind of thing, making some cash. I got a gig July 11th, so until then, I'm quarantining with everybody else. So.
I played 2 gigs this week. I had a lot of fun. Thank you, Mark Shuttleworth, for asking me to play. It was really cool. A lot of fun. Harmony Inn on Wednesday, and then we played Green Dance Winery on Saturday.
Oh, that's a fun gig. I played that before.
Did
I was
you?
pretty hammered, but yeah, it was.
Yeah,
a good
no, it was really cool. It was an afternoon show, and I ran into some people I knew. It was so weird. Like, well, we can talk about it another time. But yeah, so Mark, I'm really grateful, buddy, that you have called me for some shows, and I'm working with Mark again very soon. So I will let you guys know about that. Lily V6, you have your own thing going on.
I have my own show, Hot Licks with Lily 6, Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. However, it will not be this week because I am taking the week off for the 4th. And so catch me next week, 6 p.m. Download the app. Go to rockrageradio.com.
All right, guys.
I'm disappearing for a few days.
We are going to end the show for today. We're going to hang out for a little wee bit for the fans online and talk and chit-chat for a bit. But, hey, guys, you had some great music tonight. We had Dead Man's Whiskey Shadows of the Cloud. I promise I have 2 new songs in the can that Keith played on with me, and they're coming out very, 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 very soon. So sit tight.
I think that's pretty awesome. Not the fact that I'm on it is awesome, but that is pretty awesome. I think the fact that I never thought of a band named Dead Man's Whiskey pisses me off.
Isn't that a great name? Isn't that
it's a great name.
I love and I hate when that happens. When you hear band, you're like, shit.
Why didn't I think of that?
Because it's nothing like, you wouldn't have thought of before. You try to be so overly sophisticated at times and think of some crazy shit, but then all of a sudden you're like, some band just rolls around that has good, because the songs are good too, right? So it's like,
well, that would be bad. What would suck is if you had
the name of that band, and they, you spit out the name, and it's like, man, I wish I would have thought of that.
Well, if like your name was the Shitty Beatles, are they any good? No, they suck. So it's not just a clever name. The best line from Wayne's World. But anyways, guys, Keith the Hawk Hawkins, Lily V6. My name is Lou Lombardi. Check us out at LouLombardiRocks.com. This is where have all the acid queens gone. We'll catch you on the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
Isn't what it used to be. When the twilight zone feel like reality. A trip on the magic bus came to a crashing end. Looking for you now, gonna need a friend. The trip wasn't long or strange enough. Tell me where and
You know, somebody mentioned Spinal Tap. That is actually a good one.
That would be legit.
And what about Young Guns
I didn't even think of that.
with Bon Jovi?
Well,
Bill Damiano
I wouldn't have
mentioned that.
Yeah, like I said, I think I would have had a lot more different ones on my list of bad movies. I think we got confused on the topic. When Lou does, he starts snorting and drinking, and he's all jacked up, man. So I don't know.
I was a
Next
little
time
jacked up.
we'll be on the same page.
I was really excited. I was watching Ray, and I was getting really excited. Like, I had forgotten what a great movie that is. I mean, it is really. That's when I saw it one time.
That's a phenomenal movie. Yeah, like I said, that's what I mentioned. To go back through that thread, you must have had too much at that point. But go back through that thread. I mentioned Walk the Line and Ray. Those are just phenomenal flicks, man. Gary Busey as Buddy Holly is a kick-ass movie. I mean, he does a good job in that.
Yeah, no, it's solid, totally solid.
Ray's actually got 2 soundtracks. It's got a second one that has music that influenced the movie. Yeah.
That couldn't have been an easy movie to do, because the fact is that, I mean, it's not only that Jimmy Fox does an amazing job of acting in there, he does the singing, he does. And also you're portraying a person that is blind, and you're also portraying probably someone that is, in my opinion, probably one of the most versatile musicians of all time. A dude, they're probably, other than metal, which he probably could have did if you wanted him to, he left no stone unturned, man. That dude dabbled in everything.
R&B, blues, gospel, country. Like, he was like, no, I want to play country.
He loved country music.
They were like, what? No, you can't. No, I'm going to play country. No, I'm doing country.
Whatever he wanted, and he was so good, he did whatever he wanted. He probably could have put out a freaking thrash album if he wanted to. It'd have been funky as shit, but it'd been thrash.
Man, but he was in major denial about drugs. Like, every time it comes up, he totally until like the very fucking almost the end of the movie. He finally gets clean. I mean, he really struggled, man. I mean, it was crazy.
Sure.
Even Johnny Cash cleaned up way earlier in his life before Ray Charles did. Ray Charles cleaned up like about 5 minutes before he died. No, he's not true. I'm lying. I'm just being lying, but yeah.
That heroin's a hell of a drug.
I wouldn't know.
Well, okay, so I want to talk about this. I got to talk about this because this soundtrack, these guys sat down to write parody songs, but they ended up writing really good songs, and that's the Walk Hard soundtrack. That's some good songwriting on there, dude. Like, really listen to those songs. You're like, yeah, it's a parody, but it's kind of like good.
I have to revisit it. It was painful for me to watch that.
Oh, I love that.
That movie pretty much is. I mean, I like John C. Reilly. I think he's a great actor. I think he's very versatile. But I mean, that movie just is to the point where it's so goddamn stupid. You're like, is this good? I mean, it's so bad, it's good. I think it's
a parody of like, and since I watched Ray and also watched Walk. Then the next day I watched Walk the Line. So
that's another great movie. It's just that the acting saves that in those movies where the movie itself could have been bad. If it wasn't for, like, I don't know if you could have took many people, and Jamie Foxx, I don't know if someone could have did that Ray Charles like Jamie Foxx did. I don't know if somebody could have did Johnny Cash as good as.
Well, I'm going to tell you, man, Jamie Foxx is Ray Charles. Like, I mean, he is so
man.
good.
He became Ray Charles. He was like, for a minute there, Ray Charles was still alive.
It's crazy. I mean, that's not, and his wife, man. I mean, dude, he goes and has a child to another woman. His wife is you want to talk about Stand By Your Man. She's just
even predates that. If you watch the movie, different artist, but I mean, still a legendary musician. If you watch the movie Cadillac Records, Muddy Waters brings home a freaking kid years later, and his wife still hangs out with him.
I haven't seen that. I own it, and I haven't watched it yet.
Cadillac Records?
Yeah.
I'm going to rewatch it. I have it.
That's a pretty kick-ass
movie. That's a great movie about me. I mean, it's not completely historically accurate, but it gives you the overall picture of what happened.
It's surprising how many people you expect good performances from I think Adrian Brody's a really good actor, and I think he does a great job in it. But there's good performances from people that I was like, man, they got smacking chops. Like, I think Beyonce is actually good in the movie.
Dude, she's really amazing in that.
Yeah.
Mos Def playing Chuck Berry. That's
I was just going to say, Mos Def is Chuck Berry, who is the king of rock and roll for you, Elvis. And he's basically he captures that, man. I mean, it's funny and sad at the same time because it's just at times where even like they are now tough, but when he has to go and like explain himself that he's not a white man to a concert venue that's take down the poster. I mean, and show him that he's actually Chuck Berry when no one believes him. That's kind of sad. But I mean, the guy did more for rock and roll than most people. But it's just, most stuff as Chuck Berry is great in that movie. Like, there's some really good performances in that movie. I mean, even Cedric the Entertainer's Billy Dixon's good.
Yeah, no, everything about that. I'm going to rewatch that. That was on Netflix for a while. I'm not sure if you guys have never seen it, you should definitely check it. There are some bad ones though, and there is a very cheesy Hendrix biopic featuring with Andre 3000.
Yeah,
and here's how cheesy it is. He plays a knockoff Stratocaster.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like he plays like a Ventura Stratocaster. He doesn't even play Fender Stratocaster in it. It's really like I scratched my head at that. Like, because Andre, and he's not bad as Hendrix, but the whole thing is really cheesy. Like, it's just like it's just the whole. Well, it wasn't just that, but the whole thing was kind of. It just didn't like. It wasn't. It just really wasn't well done. It was there was a lot of hype around it because of Andre 3000, but it just didn't really. It didn't really work.
I don't think it translated.
Yeah, you saw that?
Yeah,
it was on.
When it
Netflix.
came out, I saw it. Yeah.
It might have even been like a Netflix original. Do you think?
I really.
Was it?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
There's
I know
some
I saw
good
it.
ones. There's some bad ones. I mean, I thought Get On Up was great.
James Brown.
Chadwick Boseman as James Brown.
Dude,
he became James Brown. He was James Brown in that movie.
I wound up taking a shit.
Yeah, there's some actors, man, and actresses that can just capture them. They go deep into their roles, man, and they capture that shit, and
man,
they get it.
I
they
watched
knock it out of the park.
We watched that after a podcast one night. Kevin and I we rented that, and I was amazed by that movie. That's just like that's produced by Mick Jagger, by the way.
Oh yeah. It's
But I thought that was pretty cool. Because James Brown, man, he is a really interesting character.
Oh, for sure. And you got to not only get the dance moves down, which he probably lent to Michael Jackson and Prince and all these other people that were after him. I mean, it wasn't for that guy. There wouldn't have been a lot of those guys were influenced by that who went on to be legendary musicians. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
We're talking Michael Jackson and Prince. I mean, that ain't no lightweight list, They got
a lot of James. Both those guys have a lot of James Brown in them.
But you also have to capture the inflections in his voice, that kind of mumbling, sort of like, and at times very hoarse voice. It's like, what the hell did you just say? And it came through in his lyrics. Just ask Eddie Murphy. He did a whole comedy bit on it. But it's just funny that you see somebody. I mean, how long do you have to freaking study that stuff, man, just to get that down? Because you got to sit there in the mirror and talk like that probably for months and months and months every day for hours,
Yeah.
Get that
Did
together.
you see I think we talked about this. Did you see the documentary it was on Netflix, about James Brown's band? Several of the drummers are interviewed in it because he had a real problem with drummers, man. He couldn't
big influence on me. He's had several drummers over the years. I mean, he would fire them and hire them back, and I mean, he didn't pay them. And Class Stubblefield and Jawbo Starks, Melvin Parker. He even had a white dude for a while, which I can't remember what the hell that guy's name was. Believe it or not, there was a white dude that played drums.
George Smith.
I mean, but sometimes he would use 2 or 3 drummers at a time. You watch even on Get On Up. There is 3 drummers playing.
4. There's videos of him playing with 4 freaking drummers. Like, what is that?
The amazing thing is, even if he's just playing with 2 drummers, 3 drummers, 5 drummers, whatever it is, the intricate stuff they're playing, they're all playing at the same time. That's a lot of responsibility.
I don't know, man. That's crazy. All I know is crazy shit, man. He would do all those kicks. If you missed something,
you were out there. You were out the door.
No, he would find you. He would find you. He would do his different dance, and he would you had to watch him. If he wanted to stop and you didn't stop, there's $5 off your pay. He would say sometimes he'd say it on stage. Yeah,
is that real?
Oh, he didn't fuck around. People would be like, "Fuck."
Then I think sometimes if he would forget where he was in the song, or if he forgot a lyric, or just needed some time to improv, he would just start talking to Bobby on stage. Bobby, I don't know. And then he would just talk to Bobby, and then they'd have a conversation for 2 minutes, and that takes up the entire record, James. We got to go.
I mean, yeah. So there's some, I don't know, man. Like, what's your, I watched the Johnny Cash, and again, some of the singing in that is done by Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon.
Yep.
I think most of it, not all of it, is them two singing.
Yeah.
They sound really incredible doing that shit.
I love that. I rewatched that. I watched that on Sunday. I was blown away.
I mean, he sang so low, and she could get up there higher. I mean, they talk about a female, the average female voice. It was probably. I'm not saying it's easy to harmonize, but it's like not.
Yeah, but
they were so opposite in voices.
Dude, listen, man, she was a Carter. I mean, they came out of the womb harmonizing. I mean, they all.
That's the thing, she could just listen to him sing for 2 seconds, and she was harmonizing.
Yeah. I mean, it was that situation in that family was sing or die. Like that's how they were. And they talk. What's interesting about that movie too? They refer a lot to Roseanne Cash, who became a really huge artist, and this is not in the movie, but according to Roseanne, her dad told her, "Whatever you do, don't sing. You have a terrible voice." And then there's references to Carlene, who went on to become a really big country star, like in the 80s and 90s. Carlene Carter. So, there's a lot of neat references in that, and he talks about, and there's even a reference to Bob Dylan's relationship with Johnny Cash, and
he calls him a poet.
Yeah, and Waylon Jennings. There's in the 80s, Johnny Cash was interviewed in Musician Magazine, and he said his two best friends in the entire world were Waylon Jennings and Bob Dylan, and that the three of them had been writing each other letters for many, many years, and that these letters are sealed and will not be released until all three of them have passed away. Dylan's still alive, but so it'd be very interesting to hear, to see what these three guys talked about.
I would really like to.
They probably just talked about chicks they banged and stuff.
It's the whole list. That's why they can't open it till they're dead.
Yeah, that's
when you're. Hey man, when you're in Duluth, you need to hook up with Mary Sue.
Yeah, it's going to be disappointing because this is going to be just some basic shit that when they open it, like
recipes.
He did so and so,
Chili drink
on the 18th.
Chili recipes. That's what it'll be.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff and like little like Easter eggs in that, man. I mean,
like the fact that even Waylon Jennings is played by Shooter Jennings and he walked the line. It's just little things like that.
Well, the big scene in there is like, dude, you've been asleep for 30 hours.
Oh man, I wish I could sleep for 30 hours.
But he couldn't. He had a hard time with the drugs too, man. But it's very touching.
Oh, yeah, his dad was no help either. His dad was the prick.
They have bad relationship. Mm-hmm. They just had a jacked up relationship, man.
Old Ray.
He couldn't get over the fact that this is parodied in Walk Hard. The good son. The wrong son died.
Oh my God, I can't.
He cuts him in half.
It's so hard to cut your brother in half. He sings that blues song for that guy.
I will try to watch that movie again, but it was so painful first time again.
I'm gonna walk hard, and then he goes, and he gets the idea. I watched it twice, like in 2 weeks. I'm gonna buy it. I just can't get enough of that movie.
Walk Hard, Dollar Tree. Go find it.
I'm getting it. Walk Hard.
I am obsessed with going to the Dollar Tree and buying movies. It's a problem now. I found the Wonder Years season 1 for $1.
The whole season.
The whole season for $1.
Wow, because it costs you like $2.99 an episode.
I used to go to Half Price Books and get the stacks of records for $1-2.
The first of the month,
like stacks like this.
The first of the month, Dollar Tree gets a whole stack of movies in from like Walmart and stuff that they couldn't sell.
You mean the one down here?
Any of them. Go to any. Yeah, all of them. But not Dollar General, Dollar Tree.
Oh, Dollar Tree.
They will they have all these movies that Walmart couldn't sell, and it's good stuff. Like it really is. It's stuff like TV shows and stuff that I could watch when I'm just pissing around at home. But I buy so many things. I got stacks of movies like this from them. $1 each.
My problem is I get lazy and I go I don't really feel like going through my Blu-ray collection. Is it on?
That's your
Can I
problem.
stream it?
You're getting too modern with us. That's what it is.
They got some 8 tracks for 50 cents and some some
They don't have 8 tracks. You're full of shit.
VHS and
Hey,
even
you know what I heard, man? Now be careful. I heard that like if you leave some of these states in the South and you want to come back, that you got to quarantine for 5 days before you can come back. Did you hear that?
I did not hear that.
I know somebody's going to Mississippi in a week, and when they go down there, they're going to quarantine him for 5 days.
They can't quarantine this.
You know what's
When I come
great?
back,
Not that I'm happy you had to change your schedule again, but that worked out so great for me to like hang out.
I heard that. See, that's a good thing. See, everything happens for a reason, but they ain't gonna quarantine this. I'm like a freaking Siegfried and Roy's tiger. It's when you think it's safe, boom! I'll snap your goddamn head off.
Oh, this is gold. This should be the You know what? We're going to quit talking and picking a topic. We're just going to
start talking.
We're going to get loaded, and then we're going to just start talking.
We could just riff. Let's riff for 6 hours.
I love it. We could probably
I could
do
sit here
it.
and just pound down shots.
That's what we did when we were there.
Funniest man on the planet.
That's what Joe Rogan does, man. They smoke weed and talk. That's all they do. I watch his podcast, man. That's all they do. It's
he's great. He just smoked up. The more he smokes, the funnier he gets, and the more intelligent he gets.
What was great? Well, there's some great moments on this. The one was he had Elon Musk on, and Elon he gets high. He actually gets stoned, and then his stock dropped like the next day. A bunch of people withdrew. A bunch of investors withdrew. I'm like, come on.
People are way too sensitive now. I wish people would get some backbone and some
Just
some balls and
relax.
help,
Everybody would be happy. Just chilled out, man. Yeah, I've been watching. Here's what I've been doing, dude. During the day, okay, our business is in a black neighborhood, so I've been watching Different Strokes, Sanford and Son.
Oh my God, I love Sanford and Son.
The Jeffersons and Good Times, and just like
that's some of the best shows of all time.
Man, people were chill, man. Everybody thought each other were funny. We all had a good time. It was none of this bullshit, man. Everybody was just chilling out, man. It's good.
The world's crazy now, man.
World's gone crazy. But nah, man.
Things are so bad the other day on
Well, here we
some
go.
news channel. Some news girl will say, I'll just keep everybody's name out of my mouth, but she actually said to a person she was reporting, she was like, I know things are bad. He was like, that person and whoever has a skin color close to me, and I had to tell her not to do that. I'm like, you can't even say that word, man.
Wow.
You can't even say the word white on friggin' CNN.
That's sickening. I'm sorry. Like, this is so stupid.
It's a sad state of affairs. But we're good. We'll party on. That's all we got to do, man. Just keep partying, man.
That's all we can do, man.
I mean, that's why, I try to keep everything about music and fun,
Light and fun.
Yeah, I
don't get too political.
What are you going to say about it? Because who knows? In 3 weeks, it could all be different.
And it will be, because there will be another disaster.
There'll be some other thing that everybody's on about,
But it's just COVID, blah, blah, blah. COVID, blah,
protest,
blah,
COVID.
Racism.
Then it was like a break.
COVID.
He was like, then it was Killer Hornets. Break.
For like what?
I missed that chapter.
I did too. I was so I turned.
I wanted to see one,
and I missed the whole Killer Hornet thing. But apparently that was gone for in 2 weeks.
They wrote that out of the storyline. I wanted to see them.
They'll just write something else into the continuing nightmare. Now it'll be
the Kraken's coming.
Something about Putin.
Land octopi coming.
The Kraken.
I think that pretty soon that the
release the Kraken.
I think it actually will be in the form of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh man, I got to get my camera out for that shit because I can't miss that.
God.
That'll be the end. As soon as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man comes on the horizon, he's gonna kill us all.
I'll be like, oh my God, I got to get my camera. Sign this, please.
That's all I can say about that.
I can't wait for you to come back, man.
Once you see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man come in, that's it. Time is over. I guarantee all them pro wrestlers will run when they see his ass up on the horizon.
Dude, somebody has to find a way to make that happen.
Oh.
Like in the middle of protest, all of a sudden, a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man starts coming. Dude, that would be the greatest ever.
That'd be wonderful.
Oh my God, we got to find a way to do that. Are there any? Listen, right now, any special effects people or whatever know how to make that? Hit me up because we're gonna do it. We're gonna
about
do.
that?
We're gonna find. We're gonna
Where it's
wherever.
just him with that friggin' hat, and he's just running, just coming like because he can't move too fast. He's like
And
a
he's
big
always
guy,
smiling.
But he just, coming to kill
Don't
your
cross
ass.
the streams.
That's the word. That's the worst ones that'll kill your ass with a smile on their face.
Right? Legit.
Just like Putin.
Fuck. Just like Putin. Pooping. Pooping. Coupons.
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 Oh my god, I'm gonna go watch that now. Ron White.
I know. I know. He's like the most drunk comedian.
Coupons. He's so skinny now.
Is he? That's
Yeah.
why he must have
lost
quit
weight.
drinking.
No, he's still drinking. I just think he's probably being made to exercise. He's on his fifth wife or something.
He says, it wasn't until I got married that I found out there are two kinds of anal. And my wife is the wrong kind.
Can't even stand you.
I'm losing my mind. I needed this so bad.
It's been a
I
week.
needed to laugh.
I
You guys are
don't know
killing me.
who you guys talking about, so I know.
Did you ever hear Ron? Ever heard the comedian Ron
Ron
White?
White.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, that redneck kind of humor is kind of doesn't.
Yeah, but
doesn't do
he's-
it
But
for me,
his is the best
He's
out of all of
he's
it.
different. He's dirty. Like he's not like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not like
That's
you
the one
know.
that has the drink in
You
his
might
hand all
be
the
a
time?
redneck.
He's not
he
like that.
Yeah, he drinks the whole time.
He does the
but-
whiskey and cigars.
Yeah,
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean. But he's
Which
the
is
yeah.
a good. That's a good combination.
Right.
But
We should find a place where we can do whiskey and cigars. I'll smoke a cigar.
I mean, he tells a story about like how his wife quit fucking him. So he's like, so I went out and fucked somebody else. It turns out like they don't like that. But if you quit fucking me, I'm gonna go. What's a guy gonna do? He's gonna go out and get fucked. You know, come on. Is anybody
Just so
watching?
you know that I can
We're
bring- I
still
can actually
on
bring
YouTube
cigars.
and Rock Rage, by the way. So screw
I can
it.
bring the cigars. If I bought like a bunch of freaking cigars, I'll bring one back for you.
Sweet.
I'm
about it.
Can you teach me how to smoke a cigar? I've never smoked a cigar.
I just
need
have
to-
trouble
Yes.
cutting them.
Keith, I need you to. My dad failed. I need you to bring
I'm
me
not
into
like, I wouldn't
manhood.
say I'm like smoking up from a professional, but I mean I have it down to a point where I'm not choking to death. I mean, yeah. It's,
Well, you're not
you don't
supposed
wanna-
to inhale
You
it
don't
like
inhale.
dope.
No, don't inhale it.
No, don't
shit.
do
I mean,
that.
You drink it with a nice brandy,
And
or
definitely
wine
don't
or-
hold it in.
Don't hold it in.
No, you just give it a little draw, and then you're
Yeah.
gonna blow it out, man. That's all.
Okay, hold on a minute. I need to tell you guys something. I'm gonna turn off YouTube and Rock Rage Radio.
Oh. He's